back to the Super Vessel Sports Channel on YouTube. Welcome back to Super Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Zuckerberg Merkel, here with the host today, Aaron, Joe, and Siege. Go ahead and say hi, guys.
Hi guys.
What's going on?
Alright, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Other than that, let's go ahead and get into it. So, in this video, we'll be talking about the upcoming game between the Detroit Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, coming up this Sunday evening at 2 p.m. Central Time. Where the Detroit Lions, after winning their first playoff game in over 30 years, they will now host their second straight playoff game for the first time in over 30 years. So, congrats to the fans of Detroit. They'll be playing host to the Tampa Bay Bucks, who most recently just put a shellacking down on the NFC reigning champion Philadelphia Eagles, who completely pooped the bed this past weekend. As birds do. So, Aaron, what do you think of this game? Obviously, Jared Goff, been to a Super Bowl before, back with the LA Rams, just beat the LA Rams. Baker Mayfield, just winning his second playoff game. Now being one of the, I think, only 6 players in NFL history to win a playoff game with multiple franchises. Who do you think has the upper hand going into this one?
I tend to lean Tampa. I think Todd Bowles did a really good job of getting pressure against Jalen Hurts, and if he can do that, then Jared Goff, as we've seen earlier in the season, is prone to making mistakes and turning the ball over. And I think if that pressure is there, then he'll give Tampa a couple extra possessions, and they'll use that to win the game.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I had seen earlier today that I believe he was 21 for 21 in this past game on throws where he was not pressured, while he was 1 for 6 on throws where he was pressured. One big thing I noticed from the Tampa Bay Philadelphia game was they were getting a lot of pressure on Jalen Hurts all night long. So if they can carry that over to this matchup in any way, shape, or form, I think Jared Goff is, like you said, prone to making mistakes. And you got an experienced safety like Antoine Winfield back there that he's just waiting to make a play. He almost made an incredible one this past weekend against Philadelphia. So, yeah, I definitely think that pressure could easily get to Goff in this one. Joe, what do you think? What do you think the Lions can do to limit that pressure from getting back there?
They're gonna have to. They're gonna have if they're gonna allow pressure, it's gonna have to be from blitzing.
Mm-hmm.
They can't lose the one-on-ones.
Right.
If they have 4 pass rushers, Jared Goff can't get sacked. If that's gonna happen, that can be said for any game. But if you're letting guys like Devin White run around freely, like that's causing for a play to happen. Or Antoine Winfield, if he's just back there roaming because he can be free and just do what he has to do and make some plays, like he's gonna make a play. There's a reason why, even though he got left out of the Pro Bowl, he made first team All Pro.
Yeah,
There's a reason for that.
He's a dog.
It's not a fluke. Yeah. So, it's all about keeping Goff clean, which is easier said than done. But yeah, it's gonna come down to that front 5. If they're gonna have to beat the D line every time if they want something good to happen.
Yeah. Siege, obviously Baker Mayfield has a long history with the state of Oklahoma, you could say. With you kind of being around here during his heyday at Oklahoma, his Heisman years, how do you kind of feel like that time has prepared him for this moment here? Obviously, this is the second time I think he's made it to the divisional round, but this is the first time you could say he's probably got a legit chance at winning. Last time he had to run into the buzzsaw that was Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in the year they won their first Super Bowl. I believe that's right. It might have been the year they lost it. I can't remember. But now he's got a chance to go up against a inexperienced playoff team for the most part, a franchise that is coming off probably one of the most emotional wins in franchise history. Obviously, emotions are kind of a double-edged sword in the world of sports. It can carry you to play above your actual talent level, or it can kind of mess with your head and get you to where you're over aggressive or over committing on some stuff. Um, do you think Baker Mayfield's time at Oklahoma has prepared him for potentially moving on to the conference championship game?
I don't know if his time at Oklahoma has prepared him for this or not, but I do like what I see out of Baker looking like himself out on the field, having fun, making big plays, creating momentum shifts in the game, and it was good to see Baker out there looking like himself, just with some swag,
Yeah.
wiping his nose for the first down, all that good stuff. Like when he's playing like that, he can be a force to be reckoned with. And I think for the Bucks, this what they did against the Eagles was a huge momentum shift for them. With the Lions, I'm not so sure them winning. I mean, obviously for them winning the game, it's a huge like emotional time, but it's going to be interesting to see if they keep their foot on the gas with
Mm-hmm.
that win, or if they kind of let off the gas a little bit because they finally got their first
Right.
playoff win in 30 years or whatever it was.
Right.
So it's gonna. I think that's gonna be an interesting kind of subcategory in this game to look out for to see the energies of the two teams, because I think both teams had huge momentum gains
Mm-hmm.
in uh, this past week.
Yeah. No. Obviously, I mean, yeah, it was a huge win for Tampa Bay too. I think the only reason you're probably not talking about it as much is because they've, won a Super Bowl pretty recently. It was a
Hmm.
completely different, wasn't a completely different team, but there was a lot of different players at that point, specifically at the quarterback position,
Tom Brady.
obviously. Yeah. With Tom Brady being there at that time. But yeah, I think you're right. The Bucks obviously coming off just as probably an emotional as win as maybe not as an emotional as of a win as Detroit, but definitely an emotional one for Baker Mayfield specifically.
Yeah.
For him, this probably felt like he had finally proven all those doubters wrong. Definitely, probably felt really good to kind of metaphorically stick the middle finger up to Cleveland with them losing this week and him winning this week. Uh, I definitely
Yeah, and I
think.
think it's.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, go.
No, I
Oh,
don't
okay.
have anything.
I just think it's a huge confidence boost for Baker specifically, for him to just be loose and play. Yeah, it's a playoff game. He won, and he played extremely well. And with receivers dropping two touchdown passes, Mike Evans
Mm-hmm.
dropped one
Mm.
for a touchdown, and then I think it was the tight end. I can't remember his
Kate
name.
Otten.
Dropped one.
Cotton.
Yeah, dropped a pass in the end zone. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, when your receivers are dropping passes and you still go out there and put on a show like he did, like it's just the biggest confidence boost in the world for him. So it's gonna be fun to watch this game.
Yeah. And confidence is probably the biggest factor I think in Baker Mayfield's his play. He he's a guy that really rides off that momentum. When things are going good, he is playing out incredible. We saw that at the few times in Cleveland, that playoff run specifically. We saw that at Oklahoma. But when things are going bad, he's going just as bad. He is always riding the momentum, whether it's going up, whether it's going down. And right now it's trending in the right direction. And I think that could easily carry him to another playoff win. But do y'all think Sam Laporta is starting to look better coming off of that injury? I guess you could say he only missed like half a game. I guess playing with a knee brace this past weekend. But do any of y'all think that that could continue to limit him at all? I know he got a touchdown this past week, but outside of that, I don't know that he was super involved. Um, do you think he maybe becomes more involved with the play calling this week as he becomes healthier? Anyone?
Um, I don't know. I'm not an expert on the Rams offensive or the Lions offensive style.
Yeah.
Um, I I think they focus the run game and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then everything else just kind of fills in where it may. I'm
Mm.
sure Laporte is a massive red zone target. Um, but other than that,
Yeah.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Joe, any thoughts on that?
I don't know if you necessarily like game plan to have him involved more, but
Mhm.
I think for um Jared Goff's confidence, it's a bigger deal. Like they have Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's legit.
Yeah.
Um Josh Reynolds killed it last week, and
Mhm.
he has playoff experience with the Rams and stuff like that. So I think it just helps to have that. I mean, it seems like every quarterback loves to have a good tight end, and the
Yeah.
ones who have a great one or a season, someone like Laporta, the season that he's having, like I think it just naturally turns into a 6'4", 6'5" blanket when the pressure's on. So it's
Right.
gonna help in that sense, but I don't know if it changes anything else really. It probably helps Laporta's confidence every week that he gets to be back in the game full speed is definitely gonna like he probably will look better this week than this past weekend simply off the fact that it's another full week of recovering and getting back to playing.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, I guess we'll go into our predictions real quick. Siege, who you got?
Uh, let me ride. Let me ride the momentum of Baker Mayfield. I'm
Yeah.
going. I'm going with the Bucks.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't mention this earlier, but if the Bucks win this game, expect to see a chef's hat next week for the conference championship predictions. Because I as well have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Baker train will continue to roll. Choo choo, choo choo. Um, I think the Bucks are riding a lot of momentum right now. Baker Mayfield played about as good a football as you'll ever see him play. He has been a little inconsistent this year, but I don't think that Detroit Lions defense is going to be good enough to uh, contain him. So, yeah, I think I got Bucks winning by probably only like 7, maybe even like 4. Aaron, who you got?
I think Baker Mayfield becomes the master of beating Goff, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win by 10, but that's probably the score's closer than the game actually is.
Call him a fisherman. He's about to be a master baiter, baby. Joe, who you got?
I'm I'm on the Baker train too. I want him, but just for the
Jesus.
sake of uh not jumping on, I'm hoping he balls out. I think the Lions are the better team,
Yeah,
and they're playing at home, so I think you saw how crazy that crowd was this past week. How you gave them a
ravenous.
win, and now they really feel like they have a chance at something big.
Oh,
Like
I know. Yeah,
I
that's
think
true.
they're gonna come out crazy, and Campbell's gonna have those dudes ready for a dogfight.
Last question: will Eminem be there?
Of course.
Will the real Slim Shady
I don't
please?
see why not.
Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? But unless y'all got anything else, I think that'll do it here for the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube, Swivel Chair Sports. I've been your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle, here on the coast today. Aaron, Joe, and Siege. Go ahead and say bye, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it. Deuces.